Our reading this morning tells us of Jesus giving sight back to the blind man. This is Roger from the MSC Mission Office, and you're with Mission Alive. Jesus gives sight to the blind. He also tells those who can see that they can't see, that they are blind. And this is what Jesus does, and I've said before, he often puts the opposite. You think you can see? No, you're blind. You think this man is blind? No, he sees. So Jesus often turns it around like that to get us to think and to go a little bit deeper into the reality of things. Also, there's the thing of the belief of the Jewish people at the time that because he was blind, therefore someone had sinned, either him or his parents, and therefore he's blind. Now some other cultures do similar things. I know in Papua New Guinea, anything like that, if a man was blind, it was because somebody put a curse on him. Somebody worked magic and did something to him. Any sickness, any disability, any misfortune is because of magic and sorcery. This is a reality of some people's cultures. But the cure came from God, and this is what the man said afterwards. You know, what are you saying about this man? You know, if only God can cure. And if you don't see that, and if you don't believe in that, then you've missed the point. Which the leaders got upset, you know, this uneducated man pointing out something like that to them. So there's the reality of that. Now, the point I want to make is, how do we see? How do we see? Do we see the reality of things? Or are we blinded by our prejudices, our bias, blinded by ignorance, or blinded by, fancy political footwork, which is, on the media all the time? The media can blind us to many things. There's no doubt any media, any TV station, any means are all biased in one way or another, and often deliberately so. So who are we to believe? We can be blinded unless we, as Jesus says in another place, to see and see again, to hear and hear again, to see properly, to see clearly, to hear properly and to hear clearly. And this is a bit of an art and a bit of discernment for us. But the cure, the seeing for this man comes from God. Also with that, now he becomes free. He can see for himself. He can walk about himself easily. He is free from his blindness. And this is what we need to be about also, to be free from our blindness, free from our own disabilities. We know many people in Australia and other parts of the world are not free in the sense that they suffer from and live with disabilities, whether that be physical, mental, or social, economic. In many ways, we're not free. We are bound. Two ways we can deal with this. We can work to become free, and we know in Australia many people working very hard to free people from all kinds of disabilities and limitations. The other way is we have to learn to live with those limitations. As we see many disabled people who cannot be cured as such, but they learn to live with their disability. And we all have to learn to live with them with their disability. Not only to live with them, but to appreciate them in that way too, to make them free. So this sort of freedom leads to a full life, a fuller life, and it leads to a better life. And that's what Jesus is about on his mission. Not only to proclaim the good news, but to free people from whatever holds them back, whatever holds them bound. And so this is part of our mission. Thank you for being with us on this mission.